Arizona Cardinals at the Buffalo Bills. Week 1, Bo. We are locked and loaded.
That's right. Full game preview. Johnny Venerable, Bo Brack, award-winning producer Damon, Dawg, and Craig Morgan. We're making our predictions. What do you got going on in week 1 for the Cards? Let's find out right now.
Hey, welcome in live from Studio K, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast, the PHNX Cardinals podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Happy Football Eve, everybody. This fine show brought to you by our friends at Bet365, the presenting sponsor today. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why. It is, no matter the moment, never ordinary with Bet365. This show is going to be far from ordinary. I'm Johnny Venerable, Bo Brack, Damon, Dawg. We got Craig Morgan jumping on a little bit. We have made it, friends. We put the offseason to bed. We are back in full effect here with our your definitive Arizona Cardinals at Buffalo Bills game preview show. The last show we're going to do until we are live at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass on Sunday to break it all down.
Woo! That's right. Let's get our Red Sea roll call in right now. Ozzy, what's going on? Caboose. Oh, and you got Jessica Hawk. How about Jason, Jules, Felix, Chris, Ryan, Brendan, Kirby, our guy Robert in the chat as well. Jason, excited. Everybody is here with us. That's right. Put the offseason night. It's time to look forward and finally kick things off. Already one game in the books, Johnny. Ooh, last night.
Super cute.
Likely can't get his foot down in bounds. Oops. And then you got tonight the fraudulent Philadelphia Eagles, the fraud gang up there or down in Brazil going up against the Packers. And then full slate on Sunday, which is going to be the most beautiful things these eyes have ever seen.
That's right. Early kickoff. We know, we'll have it covered. Everybody drop a like on this video here on a Football Friday, a definitive Week 1 Football Friday, the longest offseason known to man and women alike, is over. We are here to break down real actual football. We are here to preview why the Arizona Cardinals, led by one Kyler Murray, who dropped a banger of a hype video today, Bo, why K1 and the Cards are poised to upset the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen in Buffalo. And, the line right now with our friends at Bet365 hovering around 6.5 all week. The majority of the people that I listen to from a gambling perspective, the most of the sharps in Vegas are on the Cardinals. Maybe not to win outright. Most people think this line is a little bit too high, especially, goodness, it was hovering around 7 at one point this offseason. I not only think the Cardinals are going to be able to cover, you need to hammer them plus 6.5 with Bet365. I'm going to tell you right now, I think they're going to do everything they can to win this game because the momentum right now, I watched last night's game and you've got Baltimore and Kansas City, and it's almost a return to form with the NFL. Like, offense is back, big plays, explosives, rookies scoring touchdowns. And I think we're going to see an extension of that on Sunday. I think maybe both defenses are going to be a little worse for wear. Who has more weapons? Undoubtedly, no matter what you think about K1 versus Josh Allen, the Cardinals are best equipped player for player offensively to match and, dare I say, supersede anything Josh Allen and James Cook want to do, because say what you want about this defense, this offense is flipping loaded, and we're going to finally see it 100% ready to go on Sunday.
Yeah, ready for takeoff. Cannot wait for that. And that's what, everybody had to be patient throughout the preseason to wait and see. And now it's like, okay, very little left between now and then. You got a little bit of a walkthrough in Rough Buff tomorrow, and then it's go time for Kyler Murray and crew. But yeah, I mean, look, you look at this Buffalo Bills team, they're vulnerable. Like, I've been doing the rounds, talking to a lot of Buffalo Bills podcasts and shows, and They all understand it. They're not running from it. I think that they're just as skeptical as anybody else. It's like the one thing you do know you can hang your hat on is Josh Allen, elite quarterback.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you got a lot of changes on both sides of the football, and you've got a hungry Arizona Cardinals team that was very well coached last year, that scratched and clawed, where teams would say, hey, they're on our schedule, where's our win? And they say, no, we're going to make you earn it. And now with an improved personnel, improved roster, Arizona Cardinals are out to change the narrative around themselves. And as we talked to Drew Terrell, the Cardinals passing game coordinator, an up-and-coming coach in this league, it's just sitting behind Drew Petzing in the Cardinals offensive play calling group, just saying that Kyler Murray, along with his teammates, have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they're looking to make a statement come Sunday.
We talked about it at the top of the show. Kyler Murray dropped a hype video. I encourage everybody, after you're done watching this fine program, go subscribe to K1's YouTube page. And we got an inside look. And you can't tell me this wasn't on purpose with his social team. They do a phenomenal job. That, hey, the Friday before week 1 against Buffalo, we're going to drop the hype video that came from, the vlog that came from the offensive skill players led by K1, their trip to UCLA this summer. And you got to see, of course, K1 in what I continue to call the best shape of his career, both from a physicality standpoint. The arm strength looks fantastic. James Conner, who every time I watch James Conner with his teammates, I'm like, can the Cardinals really allow James Conner to ever leave this franchise? You watch him around his teammates and just keep number 6 around as long as possible. But then Marv running routes, and Greg Dortch is screwing around, having a good time. And there's Michael Wilson. There's Trey McBride. And we have not seen collectively this group in unison at full health, full speed, whatever, with the inclusion of Marv ever. The only time that has been on display, maybe the joint practices against Indianapolis that were closed to majority of the public, and hit miss at training camp, but nothing ever at this level against this competition. This is the debut of what is undoubtedly going to be the strength of this team. Like defensively, I think for better or worse, we're all just hanging on for dear life. I think we will applaud if they can hold Buffalo to some field goal possessions. Certainly if turnover. The offensive expectations are going to dictate, maybe not this season, but certainly this first half of the year. When you're playing catch-up defensively, you're playing a lot of young players, you're missing Darius Robinson. Kyler Murray in this offense knows almost each possession, you got to flip field position, you got to get points, and there are no excuses now because this unit, to me, this is on paper the best young offensive skilled group that this franchise has had in probably 10 plus years.
Yeah, and it's budding, right? It's not guys that have they're coming in after some big time years and maybe they've got like 1 good season, 2 good seasons left in the tank. These are guys who haven't seen their best football, and you're potentially going to get their best football wearing Arizona Cardinals uniforms, and that's huge. And you talk about James Conner after Kyler released his vlog, right?
Yeah.
22 minutes. In all its glory. It was right before we went out to the practice field, and then I got to catch up with some of the players in the post-practice locker room. And if you watched it yet, I highly encourage you to do it. It gives you good insight, especially into that epic trip to Los Angeles with Kyler and his playmakers. That at 1:30 in the morning, these sickos are hitting the gym. They're not out bottle service and behind some velvet rope hanging out, seeing what talent is around the LA, club scene. No, they're back and they're hitting the gym and they're in the lab getting ready for the season. And they said, you talk about James Conner, how could you think about life without Conner in it? He was the guy that was kind of leading the charge there and rallying the troops to get that workout on in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, to me, like the physicality, it's there. The athleticism, it's there, right? The resume, we all know. And they all come from like different walks of life too. Like Marv and K1 were these collegiate prodigies. In Marv's case, child prodigy of his dad. And then you've got James Conner, who was drafted behind Le'Veon Bell, beat cancer. Then Greg Dortch is undrafted. Michael Wilson's an unknown essentially and had injury concerns. And Trey McBride was a second rounder. And they all are coming together. And they're all forming this nucleus right now. And they will decide, along with Jonathan Gannon, whether or not this team is playing in January. If this offense is a top 10 unit, I think we all feel pretty good about this defense eventually figuring it out. I was listening to somebody today, and they said, regardless of what you think about the Cardinals' talent defensively, schematically, they are fantastic. And I only think that that's going to be even stronger. And hell, maybe they make a trade. Maybe they go get Hassan Reddick. But the offense is what it is. These are the guys. And I can tell you right now, like, there were points last year where you could see that they were on the cusp of, I think you mentioned it on maybe yesterday's show, 2 days ago, like, they were scoring at will toward the end of the year. Very rarely did they have a 3 and out. They were putting prolonged drives together.
Yeah.
They were really close without MHJ and without a full season of Greg Dortch starting and Michael Wilson working through a rookie year. They were close to being like a 24, 25, 26 points per game unit without Marv. Now with Marv in the fold and maybe an upgrade at right tackle, certainly an upgrade on the interior offensive line, I think with Evan Brown, like, this is a unit every Sunday. It's like they ought to be scoring 4 touchdowns, depending on who they play. Who are the 4 touchdowns coming from? 28 points. Because, spoiler alert, later in the show, I think to beat this Buffalo team, you got to find the end zone 4 times collectively. Can this unit do it? I think they're absolutely capable of doing that.
Yeah, I mean, but look, we all know what the giant elephant in the room is, that the offense and most anybody that's expected to play significant snaps for this team didn't see a single snap in preseason. But then you look at like the alternative, that's Buffalo. Like, Buffalo played, especially their first team offense, like 2 series, and it was pretty lackluster.
They looked pretty bad against the Bears.
They did. So, like, if you got that, like, it's kind of the same. Like, they're both on par. Like, the unknown for the Cardinals, like, if it's the same as what we know about the Bills, do you feel any better just because they went out there and got a series or 2 under their belt? Because I don't think it makes a difference. But, where the Arizona Cardinals are right now, as far as how we view them defensively, they don't have the luxury, in my opinion, to come out of the gates too slow. Like, if they come out in the first series is whatever, it's bad, and it's, 3 plays and a Blake Gillikin punt, then that's fine. But as long as you come out in the second series and you put together a little bit of a drive, that would be nice. Like a nice little up the Black Canyon Highway, not to Foley to Flagstaff, but getting up north a little bit drive. That's what I'm looking for. Like, not get yourself completely home, but you can't just go, okay, here's 6 plays and we're back on the sidelines in 2 series. So that's going to be important for them. And they understand that. Like what you talked about, the 15 to 16 drives between Philadelphia and Seattle as an offensive unit, where they had 1 3 and out. Yeah. I mean, that's what that does for you. And that's a testament to their ability to run the football and then, obviously cash in for points or whatever, but it also puts your defense and keeps them fresh on the sidelines.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the Cardinals have to play time of possession, clock control. They're still like, we're juicing up these weapons, rightfully so. They're still a running team at heart, or we think they are. I mean, they drafted a blocking tight end in the 3rd round. Like, I think they're going to try to run the football. Buffalo's strength.
Is the day today that you give Tip his flowers?
I do not. No, I unlike some, I wait to anoint people until what they do on Saturdays.
Yeah,
and Sundays.
You're anointing Bo Nix instead.
Oh my God,
it's gross.
We're not talking about that. I do think the Cardinals are going to try to assert themselves, work off of the play action, and again, get Kyler Murray into some of these short intermediate throws. And then eventually now you have the opportunity with Marv to lure them to sleep and hit the big plays, where that didn't exist last year. So they're not going to change their offensive identity because they added a couple new, weapons to their arsenal. But what I will say is, like, this team, there's going to be a temptation to throw the ball a lot. And I'm very interested to see with Drew Petzing, because Buffalo's strength is up front. Their defensive line's pretty good. And we're going to talk about Buffalo here in a little bit, but their back 7, not very good. Like, I think a lot of people are predicting that Buffalo takes a step back, in part because their back 7 was nitpicked with injuries. They lost guys to free agency. It's very vanilla, right? I would say it's almost kind of Cardinal-esque. If you get Kyler Murray adequate time, he's going to pick this defense apart. Where Buffalo has an opportunity to make Kyler and this offense uncomfortable, interior pressure. Like, again, we talk about Marv being an anomaly. Like, we haven't seen Marv. I'm not sure I even know what Jonah Williams looks like. Like, if you put Jonah Williams out there, who is he? What does he look like?
I think you would probably recognize who he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's a large man. They signed him
like
in
a
March.
Viking.
Yeah, they have a couple of those up front. But this group, this offensive line, outside of a couple possessions in the red and white scrimmage, what was that? Like the first weekend in August, they're MIA. So again, getting to look at, can Evan Brown and Jonah Williams slide in where the Cardinals had not issues up front last year, but inconsistencies. Certainly at left guard, they had issues. And then DJ Humphries was mostly fine. But Jonah Williams, younger, more athleticism. I think the Cardinals, if they can pass protect, if they can hold Epinesa and Von Miller and some of these guys off of K1, and there's especially no interior pressure, they should be able to dictate everything in this game offensively. Yeah. But if there's interior pressure, that's what's going to hurt K1.
Yeah, especially if you put your array of playmakers in the passing game, put them in one-on-one situations.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that can go win, right? That's what you've done. You're like guys who had to prove it, and bang coaching staffs over the head, and their production, and Greg Dortch, and guys that have done it and earned the reputation from the collegiate ranks. And Marvin Harrison Jr., and a guy who did it consistently since he's arrived on campus from Stanford as a 3rd-round pick, and Michael Wilson, and then Trey McBride, who had a massive season, and like that's not going to be the last time you hear me say Trey McBride's name today. I'm very excited about the Cardinals' 3rd-year tight end and his opportunities that he's going to get against this Buffalo defense.
I also think, with the acquisition of Marvin Harrison Jr. and then the fact that we believe, I think we'll have a conversation at some point, hopefully on this show within the next 3 years. Is this the best wide receiver tight end combo in the NFL? That inclusion allows the Cardinals to have a larger margin for error offensively. Whereas even beyond last year, like some of those down cliff years toward the end, the collapse in 2021, the total utter embarrassment that was 2022. This offense had very small margin for error because the players were small and the talent, I think, was questionable, right? Hollywood Brown's not even playing. Fortunately for Rondale Moore, injuries have derailed his career. Like, to me, that those teams, you felt like we got to have a perfect drive to score a touchdown. Now, with Greg Dortch being fully entrenched as your slot receiver, one of the best yak players in the NFL, we know what Michael Wilson can do. And Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, like, they ought to be able to clean up some messes where there hasn't really been an entity or entities that can do that since DeAndre Hopkins. Like, the beauty of D-Hop with K1 in 2020 was, I mean, it could be 3rd and 14 and Hopkins could make a play. The Cardinals have multiple players that can do that now. So I don't anticipate this team sitting back and playing conservatively because of that. Like Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. in particular, there aren't many teams that can sport a combination like that. And the Cardinals need to exploit Buffalo down the middle of the field, physicality, vertical passing game with your 2 most athletic players. And like, who for Buffalo is covering Trey McBride? We talked about it earlier this week. Who's covering Marvin Harrison Jr.? Multiple players? Like, work off the play action, run the football, establish the line of scrimmage, but make them pay with those players. Those were your marquee investments. Let's use them. Let's use them right away.
Yeah. I mean, I pointed out, like, Greg Dortch, when he gets 75% of the offensive snaps, he's just been productive. He's right around like 9 targets, almost over 6 catches a game in those situations. His 100-yard performance that he's had in his career, like, he just performs when he's out there on the field. Yeah. When you've got him out there on the field and you've got 3 playmakers that are going to have, the attention of the defense, well, quick, speedy Greg Dortch is going to eat. He is. And then if they have to turn their attention to Dortch or Michael Wilson and they, have one lapse on one snap against Marvin Harrison Jr., that's when you strike. So it's an offense that's built off of the, what Jonathan Gannon got poked fun of a little bit for his introductory press conference, but shots and explosives, man. They set it up with being bullish in the run game, establishing that. And then once the defense creeps up too much, they take in those big shots. They're very opportunistic in it. And they've got the personnel now where they should win more often than the opponent does.
Get to some of these super chats. Gannonite, friend of the program, $4.99. Excited to catch a live show. Welcome, friend. Good to see you, my friend. Keep it up, guys.
Big in the member Discord. Yep. Once exposed, I think, his one of his kids to the show, which was a little iffy at best, but I think it worked out. We kept our we kept it clean as far as not too much foul language.
This is a family show now.
It is.
Bring your friends and family. Turn it on at the local preschool, whatever you want to do. Potato bread, $1.99. Let's switch to the defensive side. Any update on Darius Robinson? He is not going to play. He cannot play for the first 4 games. And so earliest he could return would be week 5 into October. I think we all expect him to come back in October. The only thing I've heard is, again, and this is kind of doubling down on his initial diagnosis, is they dodged a bullet. It wasn't as bad as they initially thought. They're going to use the utmost caution with him. So like if he doesn't play until week 6 because they want to have him have a full practice and ease into it, like we shouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah.
I think Darius, Bo, the urgency to bring him back may be dictated on what they are and aren't getting from their current defensive line.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, seeing around the facility, not much more than that. But I would be pretty surprised if he's not back pretty soon after his missing the minimal amount of games.
You want to talk about this defense in the meantime against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? Like, practice report came out, fairly healthy. The Arizona Cardinals are. And outside of, Ojulari and Darius Robinson, like, this is the group that Gannon and Ford, Bo, envision going to bat with against, the Buffalo Bills. Here we are in week 1. No defensive players outside of Joey Blount on the injury report.
Right. And he's just dealing with the back. And I would consider Joey Blount, first and foremost, a special teams player, more so than a safety. That's a loaded room with the emergence of 4th-round pick Rabbit Taylor Demerson, and then already JT and Budda Baker. I don't even know if Xavier Weaver would have had a role.
Yeah.
If he were healthy. But Weaver is the only guy that's been officially ruled out with that oblique. It's nothing serious, according to Gannon, as he told us this morning. And Weaver will probably return to practice next week. And I'm pretty sure it's probably close this week. And then there's Tip Ryman, who is limited all week with the ankle. And then it's like, okay, even if he can't go, you still feel pretty confident in that tight end room. You've got Vokalek on the active roster. And he's a guy that I think you trust as far as blocking tight ends and somebody liked at the end of the season in that role anyway. Last year with your 2 pass catching guys in Trey McBride and Elijah Higgins.
Do you think there's enough juice this Sunday, at least, enough smoke and mirrors? And I say that with respect to the players that they're going to have defensively for the Cardinals. But do you think it benefits the Cardinals having a fresh, obviously, set of personnel that they can just kind of throw the kitchen sink at Josh Allen? Like, do you expect multiple looks? Like, we all know what to expect from this offense. We know the names, they're household names at this point. The defense is just like, I don't know. We're just kind of, again, I used the term earlier. We're holding on for dear life. And we're hoping that this team, we're looking up in the 4th quarter and it's like, oh, under 24 points and multiple turnovers forced. Nice job. Nice job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think this defensive front, it's just going to be like a brand new, it's going to be like a brand new car. It's not like a Ferrari, but it's a nice, serviceable A to B car. You're gonna go, oh, they've got 5 guys that you feel confidence in a rotation that can feel fresh, and like the entire defensive front 7 is going to rotate all game long. So they're going to have different looks where it's going to be like defensive fronts of LJ Collier, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols. You've got Roy Lopez and Dante Stills. And, you've got, a bunch of guys interior wise. And then that pass rush group of Dennis Gardeck, Zaven Collins, Victor Dumakaji, Xavier Thomas, and Jesse Luketa. And those are 10 guys. Those are 10 guys that Buffalo Bills are, hopefully it makes a difference as far as their offensive line and the new pieces that they've added there, especially when you look at the interior of things. I think that's where they can at least get away with something. Is it going to be something that's going to withstand the length of the season? Like, no, you got to it's like I said, let's get some Darius Robinson back in here soon. But I think it should help, especially when everybody's fresh game 1.
Yeah, feels like you need a Budda Baker signature performance. Like, you reminder why number 3 is still out there. You need good stuff from Kazir White, who was a really good player for them last year before he went down. And you need some respectfully C, B players on your defensive line to play like A's for a Sunday, or to have the flashes of that, right? And again, I see it. It was pointed out in the chat earlier. Somebody's predicting Zaven Collins to have 2 sacks. I don't know if that's realistic, but here's what I will say. He played his best football at the beginning of last year. I think, this unit can flash, and it would not surprise me. And again, hopefully reinforcements come later in the year, and this team can do just enough until that happens. But I mean, you mentioned it. I'll repeat it. The Washington game last year, if they had Kyler Murray, they win that game, right? Because the defense scored a touchdown. They played well enough. The offense put them in tough spots late. And Josh Dobbs inevitably took the L. I know this is not Washington's offense from a year ago, but again, just hold this team to a reasonable amount of points, hold them to field goals, flip field position. Josh Allen will turn the football over. I mean, I don't want to see this defense get gashed on the ground. And Buffalo was a team that really committed to the run last year, so the Cardinals have to know that's coming. They've got an uneven skilled player room. They're breaking in a bunch of new players. So, I mean, it's going to be just like the Cardinals' defensive performance. I think we're really on the cusp of just kind of holding on and seeing what Buffalo opts to trot out offensively.
Yeah. And you also have how odd week 1 can be, you know, and I think McDermott and his crew have been consistent enough, and I know they've had turnover and whatever, but the Cardinals can lean on continuity, right? As far as their entire coaching staff, and can they turn that into an advantage as far as how they've schemed for this game, how they prepared for it, and how they could maybe blindside the Bills with something they weren't anticipating. And that's going to be part of it. You really are going to have to rely on, something special scheme wise. Not to say that you can concoct that and hit on it each and every, other week, during the football season. But, week 1, that would do wonders for a team that's looking to create some pass rush.
We're going to talk more about the Buffalo Bills, the threat that they pose. And Bo, as you mentioned, are some people in Buffalo starting to creep some doubt into their mindset? But first, we're going to tell you about our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, specifically Wild Horse Pass, specifically our watch party this weekend. If you have not checked out Gila River Resorts and Casinos, what are you waiting for? Your premier casino here in the Valley. Again, check them out. Multiple locations. We're going to be at Wild Horse Pass this weekend for our watch party. You do not want to miss that. But beyond this weekend, we're hosting Cards and Sons watch parties. We're going to be having events. We just had our fantasy football draft there. Playatgila.com has all the insight, all the information. If you're looking to take a trip, but maybe keeping it local, perfect place. They got phenomenal food, phenomenal vibes. They've got a rooftop restaurant, Prime A Shula Steakhouse. They've got a ton, and by a ton, I mean 4,500 slots, live table games, and the biggest sports book in the greater Arizona area. I love it. Come check us out this weekend. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. We want to see you there and achieve legendary status today, Bo.
We're going to have some great giveaways as well. You don't want to miss on it. It's going to be elite. So is our friends over at Sanderson Ford. If you're looking to upgrade your vehicle, new or used variety, check out 65-acre dealership as far as Sanderson Ford, largest Ford dealership in the nation. You got to check it out because they thrive on their no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. You just want to check out some Fords. You don't want to get hassled and pushed into buying one. You're just kind of feeling it out. Go check out our friends over at Sanderson Ford. Our guy Ron, he's going to show you all the greatest Ford F-150 XLTs, Ford Escape, the Ford Bronco, Big Bend. How about the Mustang? Those are some sweet rides as well. Check out the entire inventory over there and cash in on the Playoff Payoff Sale. Yeah, the Snakes are hot, hottest team in baseball. Why not get yourself maybe celebrate their push for the playoffs with the no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense going on at Sanderson Ford. Football's back as well, and the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership are as well. Sanderson Ford, see dealer for details.
Get to some more of these super chats. Keep them coming. Keep these likes coming. The goal on a Football Friday is always trying to get to 400 likes. Wow. You what? Speaking of 499, Oh no, are we hyped for the Steve Keim podcast? I can't wait to hear him explain why he would have taken Ladd McConkey over Marvin Harrison Jr. And then to pivot off of that, Gannonite $4.99. Keim and Jarecki podcast is the best thing to happen to the Cardinals maybe ever. Beats drafting Marv. Wow. So a lot of people want us to talk about Steve Keim on a local podcast, Bo. Do you want to talk about that?
I think I'll pass on that, just like listening to it as well. How about Alberto E, $4.99? Everyone in the chat needs to tag the Bills social media with Wings Drenched in Ranch. I love this idea. Trust me, 34-28 Cardinals. I think that we should outlaw blue cheese during our watch party on Sunday.
Totally fine with that. I'm the ranch king, just like I'm the wing king. So give me that elite premier combination.
I've caught up with a lot of great people from Rough Buff, and they're fantastic. But one thing they are a bit snobby about is this whole it's blue cheese or nothing, and just how they are about their wings. Like, you can do wings in a variety of different ways. It doesn't have to be the Buffalo specific. Like the wing king himself, Johnny Venerable, knows that very well, that there are several ways that you can enjoy wings, from drums to flats to rubs to sauces to tossed
to boneless. Are you a boneless guy?
Whatever it may be, whatever it is.
I
can enjoy your wings.
I'll tell you what, Gila River, great wings. You don't be snacking on those. Our pregame show Sunday starts at 9:30. I will already have consumed wings before that pregame show starts, because I'm a big time Wing King sicko. Josh, $5 super chat. How about, I like this. Cards sneak Reddick home, have new defensive starter against Rams. Hassan Reddick gives Jets until the Jets give him up. Oh, I get it, because it's a headache. Listen, Josh, he's not playing this week.
Just flipped his first and last initials.
I like it. I like it a lot. Anytime that a player says no thank you to helping that team out, and it impacts games and it impacts jobs and livelihoods, right? As much as they may say publicly, like I saw Robert Sala, like, we're going to embrace him with open arms. BS. I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, he's dead to them. Like, they've looked at this as a lost cause. It's a headache. If their pass rush looks good against the Niners without him, they'll move on. Now, if it's terrible, then they'll probably end up paying him. But to me, it's very much in play. I believe that for the Cardinals, monitoring the situation until they get resolution one way or the other. And again, I'm all for the Jets. I want the Jets to smack around Brock Purdy and company Monday Night Football, and I think that'd be great for the Cardinals. And I think Hassan Reddick would absolutely come to Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this right now? I mean, I know that.
Are you above talking about Hassan Reddick?
Not above it. It's just let's talk about the players that are going to be available to the Cardinals.
Listen, we just spent the whole first segment being like, "Ooh, this defense."
The LA Rams in week 2. I mean, there's a big obstacle in the way in Josh Allen and James Cook in the Bills offense.
Bro,
you want to be like, let's talk about Monday Night Football and whether or not Hassan Reddick shows up or not. I don't care about that soap opera right now.
You just brought up Jesse Luketa and Victor Dumikaji as rotational players in the first segment. Shame on you. You should know better. That's why we're bringing it up. That's why
Sports Hero. I want to talk about just what's going on right now with this team. And Hassan Reddick that drama's in Jersey right now.
You got to have a lot of irons in the fire. I get it. You're focused, as you should be, on Sunday, but you just got to be able. I multitask a lot. I know that's tough for you, but I'm here to focus on the show, but also, if Hassan Reddick's available, we're going to keep tabs on that. We're not going to have tunnel vision and, just overly commit to what they have.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said for those who are just locked in. All
right, Mr. Locked In, give me a scouting report on the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Locked In.
I mean, we're going to get into our predictions and our offensive and defensive players of the game and our X factor. But yeah, if we want to get into a bit of a scouting report, this is a team that's not wounded, but they're vulnerable, right? I mean, they're reworking. They've sent a couple of their key veteran safeties packing, and they're going to start DeMar Hamlin. And then they've got on the outside, they've got, leftover Rasul Douglas or whatever. But, they got Matt Milano missing out of the middle of that defense, who they were going to rely upon heavily And up front, they've got some nice pieces from Ed Oliver and, as you mentioned, a couple of those edge rushers. But I think that the Arizona Cardinals, obviously, with a stout run game like they finished last season with, where you had James Conner absolutely just going crazy over the last 4 games of the season. And the Buffalo finish in the back half as far as run defense. I mean, that's just a recipe for success right there, defensively. And then if you want to switch over the offense, you got some thoughts on the defense?
I just feel like for them, their 2 strengths are where a lot of people believe the Cardinals, outside of their quarterback play. Like, I think a lot of people think Buffalo's O-line and their D-line can set the tone in this game. Whereas people question, I don't, but people question the Cardinals' offensive line, and certainly they question the defensive line, defensive front 7. So to me, it's about mitigating that impact for Buffalo. Can you make Buffalo's pass rush look average? And then on the flip side, can you make the Cardinals below average to average pass rush look better than it is? Because I think the Cardinals have better defensive backs. I think they have better linebackers. Certainly think they have better skilled players. And then I think Kyler Murray can be, if Josh Allen's an A, Kyler Murray can be an A-, right? So the biggest thing is, and this is, is testament to a tale as old as time, line of scrimmage play certainly impacts to a great effect the winner of a football game. Buffalo has the better line of scrimmage play. So the Cardinals are going to have to match that. That's a concern for me. Like, I could definitely see them having good penetration up front on their defensive line.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, this front 7 for Arizona in the Jonathan Gannon era, but it was before that because of personnel, we need to see a team stop the run consistently. Because if I'm sitting here at Gila River Resorts and they're gashing Arizona for 6 yards per clip on the first drive, I'm going to look around and I'm like, is anybody surprised by this given the personnel?
Right. Well, no, I mean, that would be really disappointing with the investments that they made, because even though without Darius Robinson, they did invest in some guys to help slow down on the defensive line, the run game. So that for them to come out and look the same as they did to end last season, that would absolutely be brutal. I mean, what I'll respond to though with that, like, you look at Buffalo or Pittsburgh last year, and on paper, the trenches, Pittsburgh destroyed the Arizona Cardinals on paper. But then if you were watch the film from that game, it told a completely different story.
But that was fueled by quarterback play.
Yeah.
But Buffalo's not going to have that problem. And they have a quarterback that can move. They've got that was Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky versus Kyler Murray with better line of scrimmage play. This is Josh Allen. I mean,
no, I'm not discounting Josh Allen, but I'm saying, but I think as far as the physicality that they were able to show in that game on both sides of the football, they were able to overcome where they had, I guess, not as much talent as Pittsburgh in the trenches.
Will you be surprised if the Cardinals can't stop the run on Sunday against James Cook and Josh Allen?
I think, I think that would, it's got to be the emphasis, right? They want to turn this team into one-dimensional, and
no doubt.
What just talking to people in Buffalo, like, it seems like the Bills might be content with throwing short the entire game and just trying to death by 1,000 cuts as far as their passing attack. And, I think Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawls might be willing to do so as long as they can, and Gannon said it himself, limit the explosives from Josh Allen with his legs and his arm.
I think there's going to be a temptation from Buffalo to knock the rust off with this new receiving core, because after they play Arizona, they play at Miami, where they got to score points. Then they host the Jaguars, who I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a bounce back year. Then they play the Ravens on the road, the Houston Texans on the road, and the Jets on the road. So you're talking about, 4 of the 5 upcoming games are all on the road against good offenses or good quarterback play.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat those teams running wing T Josh Allen with James Cook and some tight ends. So I think there's an expectation this week.
Cool
That it would be cool that they're going to have to open it up a little bit with Keon Coleman and, Curtis Samuel is a go, I guess, today off of injury. So and if the Cardinals are getting cooked by those players, we're going to have some big time gripes on the post game show.
You're going to be screaming. You're going to be upset. This is going to be.
Why are you saying me? How about we?
Just because people know what they get at this point. You're going to be you're going to wear your emotions on your sleeve.
More emotional.
It's going to be fine. But look, it is going to be disappointing. Like if they're able to just impose their will, and the defensive line additions that they made, and Jones and Bilal Nichols, and then of course you get Kazir White, and then the addition of Mack Wilson and the linebacking crew. Like if they can't slow things down and they're getting 6 yards a pop, it's going to be a huge disappointment.
It'd be gross. I don't want to see that. Buffalo, to me, we've said it all offseason. The time to play them is week 1 or month 1. They lost to Zach Wilson at home last year in that game where Aaron Rodgers blew out his Achilles.
Yeah.
So, and that was with Stephon Diggs. So again, like I think both of us would be very disappointed if the Cardinals are not in this game, one possession in the fourth quarter. 100%.
No doubt about it.
This should not look like, I mean, listen, this is the unfortunate part of playing the NFC West. There aren't too many instances in Kyler Murray's career, unless it's the Rams or the Niners recently, that the games are not close in the fourth quarter, that the games are not one possession historically. Doesn't matter who they're playing, Cowboys or the Eagles or whomever. It's the Rams and the Niners that tend to blow the Cardinals out. We'll have a chance to preview that next week. But I expect this game to be close. I expect the Cardinals to play above their talent level at certain spots. And I expect Kyler Murray to do his thing and re-announce to everybody that, the MVP caliber Kyler Murray is back.
It'd be great to see. And he certainly doesn't lack motivation. Was put on full display in that 22-minute vlog, what's been echoed by teammates, coaches, and reaffirmed today by Drew Terrell, their passing game coordinator, and then listening to Michael Wilson talk today. Like everybody sees the Kyler Murray as motivated as he's ever been, as locked in as he's ever been, and ready to roll come Sunday against Josh Allen and crew.
We're locked in with our game predictions right around the corner. But first, I'm going to tell you about what else I'm locked into. It's our friends at Circle K. If you haven't become a member of the Inner Circle, what are you waiting for? It's America's thirst stop. Perfect chance right now. It's still 110 degrees here in Arizona. Pop inside, get a Froster, get a Polar Pop, get hooked up. How about 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups? Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Plenty of other member-exclusive discounts, too. Excuse me. Find it in the app. Yeah, I appreciate that. Circle K Inner Circle offers. Join the Inner Circle for free, by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. At participating locations, visit circlek.com/store-locator to find the Circle K nearest you. 79-cent Frosters. Get them now.
I overheard some people talking in the Cardinals press room. This is a true story. And I heard them talking about 79-cent drinks. You can't beat it. It's the best deal in town. I was like, yep, I know what they're talking about. They're talking about our guys, our friends over at Circle K. Also, one thing you can't beat is getting rid of those Sunday scaries. They used to be very real for all of us, right? You think, hey, can I go watch the NFL games, have a few pops, and then be ready for work on Monday? Well, fear no longer, because I got to tell you about a game-changing product that you use the night for a night out for drinks or maybe a Sunday fun day. It's called Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Let's face it, a night or day with drinks, you don't bounce back like you used to back in the day. But now you've got Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Check it out right now. It's the first genetically engineered probiotic. You go right now. Vacations, weddings, birthdays, reunions. Z-Biotics is going to be your best friend. So much going on this fall. Go to zbiotics.com/PHNX50 or PHNX cards. Sorry, and you'll get 15% off your first order. That's PHNX cards. At any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/PHNX cards and use the code PHNX cards for a checkout at 15% off. Thank you for Z-Biotics for sponsoring this episode of PHNX Cardinals.
He is the PHNX Cardinals beat reporter. He's en route to Buffalo as early as tomorrow. It's Craig Morgan, his newest article, which you can check out right now. Go PHNX.com. Outside the nest, it's going to be a staple this season for all of you Buffalo Bills, numerous writers, they're giving their point of view. He's giving us his time. It's Craig Morgan. How we doing, my friend?
We are hoping that my luck with travel changes. That's what I have to say right off the hop.
Wow.
You're saying as soon as tomorrow. That's scary. That terrifies me right then, because I have bad luck, guys. I've had airlines announce that they've lost cabin pressure and dropped us to 10,000 feet. I've been dropped off in cities without a line to get where I'm needing to go. I've had all kinds of bad travel experiences. So I need somebody out there to burn some sage or just read some incantations or something to help me get to Buffalo for the game on Sunday.
We're confident you're going to be able to get there, rough buff, and it's going to be elite. You know, you caught up with an old friend of ours and people who follow the Cardinals. They recognize the name. Catherine Fitzgerald used to work for the Arizona Republic, AZ Central, and Jay Skursky covers the team as well. What was the most surprising thing that you heard from either one of those two about this Buffalo Bills team?
I had to probably go to the last question where I asked Jay Skursky if this was a Super Bowl team, and he just emphatically said no.
Wow.
I mean, you can see what they've done the last few seasons, right?
Yeah.
You see, you guys. I heard you guys talking about all the changes to this roster, all the losses. Whether you're looking at the wide receivers or the safety position, a secondary that the Cardinals might be able to take advantage of. There have been a lot of changes on this roster. Look, you still have Josh Allen. You still have a lot of things to feel good about, and this is probably still a playoff team, maybe even a division winner. But the sentiment I got from those guys is, yeah, this might be another year where it's in transition. So that was really interesting to hear.
Certainly feels like their window to be a champion, at least this year, is closed. Like they just subtracted. They played the subtraction game, and then they gifted, by the way, Kansas City, their new number one receiver, and Xavier Worthy, who scored 2 touchdowns last night on Thursday Night Football. So it's great to see people just hammering the Bills, and hopefully they have low self-esteem entering Sunday. But, I mean, Craig, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this show. Kyler Murray drops a hype video today. It's been the hype offseason for Kyler Murray. What are your expectations for the franchise QB who just had his first full healthy offseason for the first time in 2 years?
The franchise QB who NFL.com and ESPN did not rank among the top half of NFL QBs.
Oh, my God.
Listen, I know we do a lot of that on this show, like wondering what other media outlets are thinking. But and I'm not going to get into that too much, but seriously, not even in the top half. I found that a little strange. So listen, we've talked a lot this offseason, honestly, sick of talking in the offseason about Kyler Murray's approach, his maturity, how he's feeling, his relationship to his GM and to his coach, the personnel around him. It all feels like it's coming together for Kyler Murray. We could be wrong, of course, but it does feel like everything's come together for Kyler Murray to get back to the promise of what we saw those first few seasons. He's got a lot of pieces around him, at least on offense. I know you guys have talked about the defense and what the challenge might be for Kyler Murray in the office to have to produce a lot of points, but I like this offense. I think there's a lot of potential here. And obviously, K1 he's the engine that makes it all run.
Yeah, it's you've been around the Cardinals beat. Obviously, you went on a little bit of a hiatus, focused on the Coyotes for a little bit. But before that, like you saw some really good Cardinals teams, right? Including the Bruce Arians era. As far as teams preparing for the season, is there any similarities that you've noticed?
I don't know that. I don't like to compare eras, but I feel like there's a lot of positivity around this team again. And again, I was away, so I missed the dark period.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah, I missed a very dark period. But, when Bruce was around, there was a lot of positivity. The players believed in their coach, and he had a swagger. Jonathan Gannon approaches it a little differently. I do think that there's personal relationships between he and the players. You see it, Bo, and you and I see it when he's out on the field. He's up in guys' grills, just chatting with people, joking around with people. He has a relationship. I think all of these guys believe in him right now. So, again, we're at that point where you can see progress in a franchise when there's a new coach, a new regime. There's a lot of positivity. They have to build on that, obviously, this season, but it feels like it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, Cardinals believe in Kyler Murray. Does this group believe in the Cardinals this Sunday? Let's do it. Prediction time with Craig, Bo, Damon, and Johnny Venerable here. Let's start with the aforementioned Craig Morgan. Week 1 predictions. Who's your offense, defense, and X factor heading into Buffalo?
We're not going to put this up on the screen for me?
There
Yeah, see, that makes it a lot easier because you're relying on an old guy's memory, and that's not a good idea. Listen, when I look at James Conner on offense, I think about the Bills' rush defense last season, and we don't know what they're going to do this year, but they really struggled against the run. The Cardinals are going to try to be a run-first mentality team. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Obviously, they can do a lot in the passing game, but I think they want to run the ball. I think their offense is built to run the ball. And again, the Bills' rush defense was not very good. So he's my pick on offense. I took Bilal Nichols on defense just because I had a great conversation with him the other day. He's going to be quoted in a story that I'm previewing the game with. I think this defense is well aware of the things that are being said about them. Nick Rawlis wouldn't address it when I asked him in the availability on Tuesday, but the defensive players are talking about it. They know what people are saying about them. And I think there's a chip on their shoulder, and it starts right up there in the trenches. And then when we talk about the losses for the Buffalo Bills, I look at that secondary. I look at opportunities over the middle. I look at a guy like Dortch, who's a tough matchup one-on-one. I think he could have a big day out there.
Yeah, I think that Greg Dortch is Mr. X Factor. What they're going to do to get him touches in this offense. We saw him run reverses. We saw him take handoffs in the backfield. We can see him the kick return, punt return game, and then we're going to see him in the slot. His first real, opportunity to be a starting wide receiver in this league. I don't know how much 11 personnel we should expect to see, but when they do, and they've got that slot receiver out there, Greg Dortch has proven to be productive, and I think absolutely that is a great option for the X Factor. Johnny, who do we go to next? Because I really like Craig's predictions there, at least as far as the key players in this game. We'll get to the score prediction later, right?
Yeah, after everybody gives their breakdown, and mine's very similar. There's a theme. Great minds think alike. Craig, here's who I'm rolling with. It's the same offensive star. It's James Conner. Again, the Cardinals' best version of this offense last year was led by number 6, especially at the end of last year. Had a tremendous finale against Seattle. And yes, you've got Marvin. I think Marv has a big day, but James Conner sets the tone for this team, not only on offense, but frankly, just in general. He's a team captain for a reason. Defensive side, I like Kazir White. I think
Is
Kazir
that the
White
hardest picture in the history of Earth.
What's that?
This picture of Kazir White?
Yeah, I mean, I need that in my life. I need him sacking Josh Allen. Kazir White, who, knows a thing or two about playing in big games, dating back to his time in Philadelphia with JG. Like, I think he can have this front seven believing that they can play above their capabilities. And I think when Craig talks about the chip on the shoulder, it's going to be led by their star linebacker and their newest addition up front on the defensive line, Justin Jones. Again, from people we talked to out of Chicago, he's got a big-time ability, rush the passer. Can he put it all together? And more importantly, can he be the guy? Because right now, without Darius Robinson, he's your most talented defensive lineman. And eventually, you're going to be able to see those two paired together. But in games like this, the Cardinals have been burned by free agent defensive linemen since the end of time. This needs to be the first one where we look at it and like, hey, week 1, that guy is out there, and he's just hauling what, and he's making it difficult on Josh Allen. He's pushing him out of the pocket, making him throw the ball away. Kazir White, Justin Jones, James Conner, leaning on the veterans of this team, because I think you're going to get contributions from rookies, but you can't come into this game and say, we're going to rely on Marvin Harrison Jr. to save us. No, go with where you've gone in free agency the last 2 years, the investments that you made. That should travel well on the road against Buffalo. I think the Cardinals, led by these 3 players, are going to have a big day.
If they get production from, the 2 defensive linemen you guys both outline, I think it should be good for the Arizona Cardinals against the Buffalo Bills on offense. Damon, you want to jump in here with your predictions?
I'd love to, Bo.
Let's do it.
So for my offensive star, I'm going with Trey McBride. I think that we're underrating the Bills cornerbacks a little bit. I think Christian Benford, the current version of Rasul Douglas, which I know Cardinals fans are not really akin to, and Teron Johnson are all 3 pretty good players. I think that the Bills, their strength of their defense kind of lies in their cornerback group. They lost both of their safeties they've had for the last half decade or so, 2 all-pro caliber players in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. So I think we can exploit the middle of that defense a little bit. Trey McBride, give him a one-on-one matchup with DeMar Hamlin, please. I'm waiting for it. And conversely, I feel very similarly about the Bills offense. They don't have a lot of receivers to throw the ball to. They do have Dalton Kincaid, however, in his second year. about to make a jump. So I'm taking Jalen Thompson because I think the safeties are going to have a big impact on this game. If they can limit Dalton Kincaid, I think the Cardinals defense will have a better chance of getting stops. And for my X factor, I'm going Mac Wilson. How are they going to deploy him? Is he going to be a pass rusher a lot of the time? Will he be spying Josh Allen? I think that, how he plays could be a big determiner in how this game ends up.
I like it. Mac Wilson, Cardinals' biggest Swiss Army knife on defense that's no longer kind of looked at negatively. Now that you got some defensive minds that know what they're doing with versatile players. Damon, let's get into my predictions here. I like Trey McBride as well. I think Trey McBride is the biggest player on offense because of the Matt Milano injury, and also because Trey McBride was the second best tight end in football statistically when Kyler Murray returned last season in Week 10. But the Bills, I saw this number, gentlemen. It jumped out to me when Milano was on the field and Kevin in the middle third of the field. They gave up just about 6.7 yards per attempt with no touchdowns and 5 picks. So they didn't give up any points and they forced turnovers. But without Milano, they gave up over 7 yards per attempt with 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. I mean, it's a huge difference without Milano on the field. And you're incorporating, as Damon mentioned, some new safeties. Trey McBride, he's going to feast on Sunday. That's why he's my offensive star. Defensive star, you look to the pass rush room. Can somebody step up in game 1? I'm not saying, hey, they're going to consistently get home each and every game this season. But if I know anything about Dennis Gardeck, he's got an affinity for the big moment. He had, 2 sacks in the season opener last year. I know that's against Putrid Washington, but I think that Dennis Gardeck has an opportunity to maybe get a sack and be one of the key defensive players for this team. We know his versatility. And then we go to our X Factor. And look, I know Michael Wilson's a big name here on this program, in this market, but not a lot of people know Michael Wilson as a household name. In his last 6 quarters, Michael Wilson has 10 catches for 130 yards, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. He's going to start to kind of make himself trend after this game once they realize how much Kyler Murray is going to look to him in this offense. I like Michael Wilson as the X factor. The only time I think I can use Mike Wilson as an X factor before he becomes too much of a proven commodity league-wide.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of notables. I would have loved to have seen Darius Robinson, B.J. Ojulari on these prediction sheets, but it's just not a thing right now that we're going to be able to experience. But hoping that the guys that we listed make an impact on Sunday. We're going to tell you if we think the Cardinals are going to win or lose this game here in a second. But first, I'm going to tell you, you're always winning with our friends at Game Time. Your premier ticketing app is here to save you money using the bonus code $20 off. PHNX, of course, is the bonus code. And again, if you're in the Buffalo area, the greater Buffalo area, check the Cardinals out. And procrastinating is the name of the game. So get your tickets all the way up until game time. They've got flash deals beyond just the NFL, beyond just pro sports, entertainment. They've got parking passes, events, festivals, whatever you want. Get hooked up with Game Time. And, of course, the Cardinals return back to State Farm Stadium a week from Sunday for their home opener against the LA Rams. Again, we're going to hook you up. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX, $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time, Bo.
Have you taken on home ownership before? You know how much of a nightmare it can be when you're upgrading your flooring. It's a huge undertaking, huge project. And the words easy, quick, and convenient, often that's not what the deal is when you're getting new flooring done. But when you've got the quick professional installation with our friends over at Empire Today, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headaches. That's for sure. Empire Today is going to help you shop at home with convenience, a product that's going to get your needs and quick professional installation that's going to also offer a price match guarantee. So if you can find a lower price, our friends over at Empire Today, they are going to match it. And you can also check out their virtual home floor designer, which can make and let you get a look at what the new flooring would look exactly in your dwelling, whether it's a new condo or whether it's your home. Check it out. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All our listeners receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for more details.
Who's willing to pick the Arizona Cardinals to upset the Buffalo Bills?
Here it is.
Maybe all of us? Maybe one of us? Let's check it out. Here are your Fab Four here on PHNX Cardinals. The prediction time ahead of Sunday's opener. And man, oh man, ye of little faith. Off-season hype be damned. Marvin Harrison Jr., see you later. You got 3 of the 4 hosts on this podcast saying, nope, Cardinals are taking an L. I disagree. I think we get an Arizona Cardinal win. I think Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray have their coming out party nationally. I think Buffalo is fairly average. I don't buy Sean McDermott, especially in big games. And I think this is the time that you're going to upset Buffalo. They get better as the season goes on, December, January. Too many rookies, too many subtractions. Cardinals, too many unknowns for Buffalo to prepare for, too much talent offensively. Give me the Cardinals winners, 27-24.
Man, I want to congratulate Damon for finally getting a cartoon head. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, man. I'm going to get emotional over here. It's been a long time coming.
Guys, he's fighting back tears behind the Mac. He's been waiting for this moment for a long time.
They told me I finally put enough work in at this company to earn one.
If that was the case, you would have gotten it when you were like part-time. All right, let me be the first to explain myself. And then Craig and Damon can explain themselves. But after back-to-back 4-win seasons, I'm excited about this Cardinals team, but I need to prove me to prove some things to me. I need to see it, and this is a team that's in Buffalo that's got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they're at home, they're hosting the Cardinals. It doesn't mean that I don't think that there's a path to victory or many paths to victory. In fact, when I think about 29-27, I think about the Arizona Cardinals, potentially going for 2 to tie this thing. That would be exciting. I think that this game can be electric and can prove a lot of things even without a victory. But I'm not ready to go out there and go out on a limb and say they're going to beat Josh Allen and the Bills at home to open the season.
Yeah, personally, I look at this defense and I still have a lot of questions. I think this is a tough matchup on the road. I hear what you're saying. And look, the Bills, they don't have the receiving core that they had last season. So there are a lot of questions about this passing game. We'll see if they can sustain what they've done on offense. But I think this is a defense with major challenges. I wish B.J. Ojulari and Darius Robinson were available for this game. I wish the Cardinals had a better edge rush. I think you've been talking about that a little bit in the preseason, Johnny. I hope that this run defense is a little better than we saw last year. I think it will be, but this is a major challenge. So I think the Cardinals are going to put up some points, but not enough points to get a win in Buffalo.
I kind of agree with Craig there. I do believe in the Cardinals offense. I said earlier today on a Southwest bias I did with Eric Ruby, 4 touchdowns, similar to Johnny. I think that could be the barometer for how the game ends up. But my problem with the Cardinals defense in particular is they were 23rd in turnovers last year. They didn't force a lot of turnovers. Josh Allen is very turnover prone. I think that could be the key to the game. You force Josh Allen to turn the ball over once or twice. Maybe the Cardinals are able to squeak out a win here, but ultimately I think the Bills offense is too good for the Cardinals defense.
The Bills offense without Gabe Davis, without Stephon Diggs, we laughed at Keon Coleman for 6 months on this show, and now he's the number 1 receiver for a team that already has issues, completing passes consistently. I'm pretty surprised that I'm the only person that picked it, but I'll ride alone. That's fine.
Here it is. I got a question for you guys.
Bo is with this team every day, Craig.
Yeah.
And he defends these players like they're his brethren. And then when it comes time to pick them, he's like, actually, you're all big time losers. That's what I'm taking.
No, look, if you're gonna sit there and we're gonna be judged off of whether we think this team's gonna win or lose every week, I'm gonna let you down probably half the time this season. I think that this team has the opportunity to knock on the door for a postseason berth, but they got a lot to prove. There was massive changes to this roster, and they're still in year 2 of the rebuild. And I still believe in Kyler Murray and that he can win them games on his own. But this is, even with changes, Buffalo still has, Josh Allen and a lot of good pieces on both sides of the football. I'm not about to just say
they have a good old line and a good running back.
Skittles,
pretty good tight end too. Yeah,
and guzzle it down with some Sprite.
Conversely, Johnny is sitting over here being like, "This is the worst defensive line unit in the history of organized football.
Right.
And also we're beating a top 3 quarterback in the league week 1.
I hope, Johnny, I hope you're right, man. I hope you get to gloat, and I hope you get to spike the football on Sunday in the post-game show. I absolutely do.
We'll have the graphic ready. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, have the graphic ready. Greg, I'm sorry. Go ahead with your question, brother.
This is off topic a little bit. Certainly with where we are right now, but what are we going to see from the kicking game? I don't think we've seen anything yet from the new kickoff rules. I think it's all been vanilla. I don't think anybody has shown their cards. I think we could see some creative stuff. I hope we don't just see teams kicking it out of the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it, what was it, with the Chiefs and the Ravens, where they got 2 big leg kickers. We know that Prater has the ability to do it. But they obviously kicked off, I think, during the preseason to see what opposing teams would do in response to that. Yeah, it's really going to be a little wrinkle that's going to be on display all Sunday long, where you're finally going to get some different approaches to it. Maybe we'll see it tonight as the Eagles and the Packers take on each other. But man, that could change some things up. And if Jonathan Gannon's proven anything, it's that he'll think outside the box. And if he feels like they need to make something happen, maybe he'll utilize that phase of the game. But Jeff Rodgers and crew, they're prepared for it. And then, we'll see if, Prater gets back on track after a tough finish to the 2023 season as well.
Get to some of these super chats. Picking spreads. Donnie, $2. Game day, boys. Let's enjoy the ride. We are here plus 6.5. I think all of you guys had the Cardinals covered.
You did.
Let me double check that. Damon, does everybody? I think Damon had the biggest spread.
Me and Craig both had 6, but you know what they say: good teams win and great teams cover.
Johnny, I just got an email from Johnny. He's requesting that your cartoon had to be removed, and also both mine and Craig.
Listen, this is where I have to step up as the resident fanboy of this podcast.
Johnny Pom Poms, right?
That's right. Jonathan Gannon, I think is going to be an A+ coach in this league eventually. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he was playing with no pun intended, without a full deck last year. It was hard to judge and evaluate. But I watched him beat Mike Tomlin and fraud Nick Sirianni and Mike McCarthy. And I think the big test for me with JG is going to be, can you hang against the Shanahans and the McVays?
No.
I think he can beat Sean McDermott. I think he can out-scheme Sean McDermott. And I think Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, like there was a time we sat on the show and Kyler Murray was unquestionably a better quarterback nationally than Josh Allen. But Josh Allen had the more stable franchise and the more stable roster. Kyler Murray's playing catch-up, no doubt about that. But like I just think the Cardinals, to me, there's too many positives with this offense. If you're going to be lesser on one of the sides of the ball in 2024, pick defense. Whereas I think Buffalo has a chance to regress offensively. They've got a defensive head coach. So I think the Cardinals offense can clean up a lot of messes on Sunday, Craig.
Tommy Dillard.
Just to clarify here, Jonathan Gannon, when Johnny says you're playing without a full deck, he's not talking about your mental capacity. He's talking
I'm talking about the dumpster fire left by one ex-GM current podcast host that he shall not be named. Where it looked like a high school team and tweener linebackers and 5'6" receivers abound. Right. Topic 64, $9.99. Damon, I think the safety is going to be a beast out there too. He's praying that JA tries him, trying to pick off Josh Allen. Hashtag, well, Jalen Thompson picked off CJ Stroud last year. I predicted topic 64. I'm not sure if you know this or not. I predicted earlier this summer Jalen Thompson was going to lead the NFL in interceptions. I would not be surprised if he got his hands on a football this Sunday.
It's an interesting thought there, topic 64. Great minds think alike.
Damon had his defensive player of the day, right? JT.
Absolutely.
Love to hear it. Love to see it. We got to have people leave in the comments what they think their score prediction is here. You can obviously rally around Johnny Venerable, who's
we're basically Jonathan Gannon, Johnny Venerable. We're the same.
They're one and the same. You mentioned the kickoff rule, Craig. You deep dived it. It's there's a great story. Go PHNX.com. I highly recommend people check it out. How this rule came into effect, the ins and outs, what we know so far. From perspectives in Chicago, Philly, all of our great affiliates here at ALLCITY. But yeah, I mean, are you expecting an uptick as far as creativity come this Sunday compared to what we've seen just through one game?
I don't know if I'm expecting it, but I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that this brings that exciting play back into the game. And I know a lot of people from the past. Talk to Brian Mitchell, of course, who is the all-time leader in kickoff return yards for that story. A lot of people are hoping that this brings arguably the most exciting play in the game back. I tried to talk to Devin Hester, but that's a story for another day. Yeah, I'll tell you that someday, Johnny. Maybe I'll share it with the diehards at some point, what happened with that interview. But yeah, I want to see that play back in the game. I don't want to see guys get injured, and I understand why they modified the rules. I think this is a great compromise, so I hope it brings some of the electricity back into the game.
Greg mentioned chatting with diehards. You can become a diehard right now. Go PHNX.com. Again, every year you're a diehard, pick up a free hat and or shirt. Shop the, number 18 collection. Pick up the old math t-shirt, 1 + 18 = 6. Could we finally see that come to fruition on Sunday? We've been teasing that bad boy as well as many others. Celebratory tee, the Maserati Mar. If you can't buy a number 18 jersey here in the Valley, but you can sure as hell shop the number 18 collection. When you become a diehard, you get a free shirt of your choosing, plus 20% off all future purchases at phnxlocker.com. Entrance to the exclusive member Discord, which, of course, PHNX Cardinals Discord, the best. Access to the premier written content from my guy, Craig Morgan, Jesse, Gerald, everybody. Go PHNX.com. And then, of course, that sweet, sweet membership card that's going to hook you up on discounts for all of our events. No better time to be a diehard right now. And I'm going to tell you what, you come this Sunday to the watch party at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass, rocking some PHNX Cardinals gear, free drink on your boys. No questions asked.
No doubt about it. We are paying for your first beverage, adult beverage. If you're rocking some of the sweet, sweet gear of the PHNX locker, make sure you're checking out a new article from our guy, Craig Morgan, Outside the Nest. Go PHNX.com. More insight about this Bills team outside of Johnny just saying it's got holes everywhere and the Cardinals are going to just walk to victory. Actually, up to with the insight, Catherine Fitzgerald and was it Jay
Skursky?
Yeah, Skursky giving you some insight there. So go PHNX.com. More content headed your way tomorrow as well. Look for some videos. Only way that you'll be notified, you just got to subscribe and then set up alerts there where on your phone, on your smartphone, and you'll be locked into PHNX Cardinals throughout the week. Johnny, any parting words before we get out of here? I mean, you're leading the charge.
I am. We got a ton of content dropping this weekend. I got a special piece of content, I think, dropping tomorrow that I'll be sure to plug. Please, everybody, go like it and don't make fun of it because it's really good. It's the kind of stuff you want to see. We're going to get fired up because we appreciate everybody. In all seriousness, lock it in for a tremendous offseason. We've seen a tremendous amount of growth on this show, on this pod, in this community. We've gotten stronger as a beat with the people we've added, a la Craig Morgan. We've gotten stronger as a community because of all of you. How about this? Topic 64, one last super chat, $19.99. No more Wilson. All linebackers are healthy. Matt can play linebacker or DN. Secondary is elevated. K1 is healthy. Great receivers. O-line is ready. J.J. Watt's first season as a Card, we won 7 straight. I believe it will happen.
Right.
Again, a lot of people are drawing comparisons. Topic 64, the Cardinals beating up on Tennessee week 1. I would say the one outlier to that is who plays quarterback for Buffalo. But I'm with you. I want to see it happen.
No, Ryan Tannehill, he's not walking through those doors.
I wish.
Damn. That's unfortunate.
Can we all laugh at the Eagles before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. What's funny now?
2 drives, 2 turnovers. Great start to the season for the Birds.
Oh, what's going on? Is Big Dom not keeping him in?
Apparently,
check?
Big Dom was hyping the team up before the game.
Well,
he was giving like the pregame little speech.
There's where you went wrong.
Fraud Sirianni, the high school coach.
How long?
Quiz time, guys. Quiz time. When's the last time the Cardinals franchise won in Buffalo?
Oh, it's been like 50 years, hasn't it?
Arians and Palmer had I was in Europe.
We looked up that game. Carson Palmer threw 4 consecutive interceptions to end that game.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about that.
David Johnson had it like that was the year he had like 20 plus touchdowns. Yeah.
I'll just tell you because none of you were born. It was 1971 when they held Orenthal James Simpson to 42 yards rushing in that game. That's the last time. And I'm not trying to say this. Yeah, the Juice. So they're due. It's about time, right? it's about time the Cardinals went into Buffalo and won this game, as Johnny Venerable is telling you they're going to do.
That's right.
Is that 53 years?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
God.
Well, the juice won't be loose this weekend, but we will. We will see you all at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. It's going to be a banner event. Like this video. Let's get it to 400 likes here on a Football Friday. Check out Craig's content, his article right now. Go PHNX.com. And, of course, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast right now. So much good stuff. We're getting you prepped and ready to go. 10 a.m. kickoff time here in Arizona. Pre-game show starts at 9:30 Arizona time. Of course, we got you covered. Halftime and post-game show, Bo Brock.
Before that as well, make sure you're following PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter and Instagram, and Craig S. Morgan on Twitter. Our guy Sean DePaz is going to be helping him out in Buffalo. Great content coming out on our social channels. Don't miss it. Follow those social channels, PHNX_Cardinals and Craig S. Morgan. We'll get Sean involved as well. You'll get to meet Sean again, who helped us out so many years when we got started here at PHNX. Looking forward to it, Craig. Safe travels, my friend, as you leave tomorrow tonight, and we'll see you on the post-game show on Sunday. Hopefully, following a big win. Johnny,
all right, guys.
Way to go, man! I'm proud of you. Way to hold the line for the win.
It. I would tell you, everybody, to check out my three co-hosts, Bo Brock, Craig Morgan, Damon, Dawg, but they predicted the Cardinals to take the L. I'm a winner. You can follow me at Johnny Venerable. We'll see everybody for the pregame show. 9:30 a.m. Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Come to the watch party. We'll see you there. Have a great weekend.
We all silly like the mayor.